Hello and welcome to this episode of the Buried Rap Podcast. I don't know what episode number this is, but I'm glad you're here. Today I'm going to be diving straight into the cringe territory and talking about Pokemon. Just because I think cringe is something that I need to let go of, because what is cringe really? Nothing. If you don't let cringe have power in your life, it doesn't mean anything anymore. So that's where I'm headed, I guess. So I have some research because I'm trying to get this podcast to a point where it's more organized and like there's an actual logical flow of what's going on rather than just talking. So hence the tiny bit of research I did before this. And I will say tiny. Like I literally just went to Wikipedia and started writing things down. But I did, and how I'm saying I'm like trying to let go of the cringe and everything. In high school, that was 2 years ago. I'm gonna freak out. It was in that like last part of high school. When I was in high school, at the very end of my senior year, I think everyone has that like universal like awkward experience where everyone kind of like drops what they're doing and they're like, oh wait, we're not gonna be here anymore, we're all gonna graduate and we're all gonna go to different places and I'm not gonna see you again. Like it's just so weird. But because of that, I was at a point where I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna do whatever. Like it don't matter no more. I'm not gonna see half of you ever again, truly. So I did a presentation, and this was in my History of the Americas class. I did a presentation and he said to do a presentation on the history of anything you wanted. I did the history of Pokemon. I got up there and presented like a 5-10 minute thing on the history of Pokemon. It was like, 2 weeks out from graduation. I said, this does not matter. I said, I don't care. I love Pokemon. I'm just going to talk about it. Why not? And my teacher loved me for it. I could tell he had a good time. So, yeah, that history of the Americas class, by the way, I loved it. Well, I loved the teacher. I loved the class too. It took some getting used to, but it definitely was great for me. But anyway, we're gonna actually dive into the quote unquote research. But yeah, the point of me bringing that up is that I have done previous research on it before. I just kind of forgot everything, so I needed to refresh. Basically, Nintendo was a company that was founded in 1889. So not even the 1900s. And they originally made cards, and I believe the cards were like traded and played card games with the Yakuza or something. But I didn't research that part. Please don't blame me if you tell someone that, because I don't know if that's true. But they went from making cards to making toys, and then video games and game consoles, is what, Nintendo did. And then Pokemon started as like I believe it was the founder was like hunting bugs or not hunting? Sorry, catching bugs and fish and stuff, and kind of wanted to capture that in a game. So that's really what you're doing, is you're just finding quote-unquote bugs to collect. And I think that concept kind of is really universal, but the demographic for Pokemon, when I was looking at that Wikipedia article, I said, are you serious? The age demographic is 5 to 12 years old. So, I am almost 4 times the, beginning age of a Pokemon. That's a little too much for me to think about right now. So I'm going to pretend I didn't read it. But, it is technically... No. I'm pretty sure that thing says E for everyone. I'm somebody, okay? I'm everyone. It's a kid's game. I'm sorry. It is. And, yeah. I mean, it's not, but, like, it is. So, yeah. Back to the research. Sorry, me saying something crazy, forgetting where I am, and needing to go back to the research. But, yeah, it started off as the games, and then wait, am I wrong about that? I think it started off as the games, and then it expanded into the card game. No, I think then the TV series, and then the card game? I don't know what order it happened in, but something like that. And the anime especially, the Pokemon, like, original anime, was massive in the success of Pokemon in the West, because I think that was a time where, like, I mean, everyone was just watching TV, and kids especially, because now there's a new generation growing up watching, like, you know, TV like that. Or, like, having access to the internet and things like that. So that's probably a large part of it. Is the anime in the West. And also kind of the reaction to it, I think, is that obviously it's an Asian game, technically, and an Asian company. And I think the values in Japan are a little different, even though there's been a lot of cultural exchange between the U.S. and Japan after, World War II. Which is kind of strange to think about, the fact that the U.S. literally bombed Japan, but now we're, like, really good trade partners. I don't know. It's strange to think about. Anyways, so now that we're done with World War II, the thing that I thought it was interesting that it clashed with American culture is the fact that there's, like, the two mainstays of American culture will be Christianity and capitalism. I'm telling you, until the day that I die, at the very least, Christianity and capitalism will have their tight gorilla grip on American culture. No matter what you do, religion will find its way in. No matter what you do, capitalism will find its way in. So what happens when the two of those things collide with Pokemon? Pokemon and capitalism specifically, what that looks like is the fact that it got marketed into literally everything. Name one thing there's a Pokemon version of it. I'm 100% sure in America, and actually, heck, in Japan. Like, sorry, I'm trying not to swear, and it's really awkward. In Japan, I know there's literal, like, trains themed after Pokemon, which is insane. Like, you buy a train ticket, you get on, it's Pokemon. Like, that, nothing in my brain can make that make sense. But here in the West, it's like, we have, obviously, the TV show, which made, I'm sure, a bunch of TV, channels, yeah, a lot of money at some point, I'm sure. Even though TV is really dying out, and that's not as big of a thing anymore. But yeah, TV, and there's, like, on-demand Pokemon stuff, too. There's, yeah, the video games, plushies, trading card game, online trading card game. I'm trying to think what else. Literally anything you can think of. There's probably a Pokemon version or Pokemon sticker you can put on it or something. I got Pokemon pencils when I was in, like, middle school. Like, it's just everywhere. Anything you can market with Pokemon on it has it somewhere. I guarantee to you. Pajamas. Like, pants, shirts, gloves, hats, bumper stickers, license plate frames. Just literally anything. There is a Pokemon version of it somewhere, I'm sure. So I think that's kind of how Pokemon collided with capitalism in the West, is that Americans took it and ran. But I think the other part is, like, the religious aspect of, like, I'm not going to say who this person is in relation to me, but there's someone who was in relation to me who believed, I don't know if she still believes this, but said, and I quote, Pokemon are pocket demons. And so now I don't know exactly what that's supposed to mean, but I said, you know what? Okay. I said, I'm going to play my 3DS over here, but you believe that. Go ahead. And I think it's weird that, like, I think a part of it is just that a lot of Americans will label anything foreign as like a demon or demonic or witchcraft or something. And a lot of Christians have a hard time knowing where their practices come from anyway, because they've tried to like cleanse it with, oh, this is a Christian thing, and oh, I'm doing this in the name of Jesus or whatever. But like, it's not always like that. Also, this is Pokemon. This is just like a little kid's game. It's got some cool animals, and some of them are electric sometimes. We got an electric zebra. There's firebirds. I don't quite understand how that's demonic, per se. But, like, you know, some people do. And I, at the end of the day, kind of have to respect people's religion. I just don't personally see it that way at all. And I think it's weird that we got to that point. But yeah, I think this is just like a hypothesis. I'm not in any sort of religious authority or anything like that, but, or sociological, I guess, maybe might be more accurate. But like, I feel like the reason people didn't want Pokemon, like religious people specifically, is because, think about it, it's targeted to kids. And who are they trying to bring up in the church? It's the kids. They want to play Pokemon. They would rather sit at home and watch Pokemon on TV because, I don't know, bright colors, it's actually entertaining, and it doesn't make them think about their morality at like 3 years old. Yeah. So I think that might be most of what it is. To be honest, I think it's just people who are in charge at the church saw kids not wanting to go to church anymore because there's something actually fun and entertaining to do. So, yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna be pretty blunt about that throughout this podcast. I have some feelings toward Christianity in America and, like, religion as a whole. I don't have feelings, like, not against. I have some thoughts, you know what I mean? I'm gonna keep them on the low for this episode. But yeah, that's where I'm gonna go with it. Is basically that Pokemon came into the US and interacted with both our, like, you know, capitalism aspect of how do we get this to sell? Let's sell it to kids, let's sell it at McDonald's, let's make all these stickers and toys and plushies and whatever. And then how it interacted with religion, where there was like a kind of fear of like, let's push this away. And that leads me to my final thing. I need to keep this kind of short. My final two topics were going to be what it looked like Pokemon in my upbringing and Pokemon now, and just kind of evaluating it. Because thinking about it, Pokemon has had such a major role in my life in particular. And I'm sure it has in pretty much everyone's in some way. But, like, for me as a kid, I just, like, loved Pokemon. That was my thing. I definitely didn't catch them all. But, I was doing other things, looking for shinies, especially, when Pokemon X and Y came out. I played through the game, but, like, I watched Let's Plays and walkthroughs and things, so I think Chugga Conroy probably had one. Munching Orange for sure had one. A lot of, like, adult YouTubers were making Pokemon content that I was consuming as a kid, which is weird coming back to as an adult, because, like, now I'm watching these, and I was like, I mean, I think those YouTubers were making it for other adults, but I think kids were watching, which is kind of funny, but, like, kind of weird. And the role it has in my life, God, I'm running out of time, sorry. And the role it has in my life, I think now, is kind of a way to heal my inner child. I think a lot of people have something that they do that they loved as a kid that they will, you know, occasionally revisit. And that's kind of how it is for me, is that Pokemon's that thing I revisit if I feel like I need to heal that inner child a little bit. Yeah. Sorry, that was kind of rushed, but, you know, that's all for this episode, I guess. If you enjoyed, please remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any suggestions, oh my gosh, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear some suggestions. I might be making a K-pop episode soon, so even more cringe, but, you know, we stick with it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Please stay tuned for the next episode. Bye-bye.